currencies in other nations that were locked, had locked currencies. In Argentina, they were locked to the U.S. dollar. And just like Greece, they say, oh my God, if we leave the euro, the sky will fall. Well, I'm sorry. When I first proposed that they leave the euro back in 2010, the unemployment rate was a horrible 9%. The European Commission said, stick with us and you'll be recovered by 2012. They didn't recover. They went from 9% unemployment to 26% unemployment today. The sky has fallen. Those in Greece who say that the sky will fall have not looked around them. The sky is under their feet. It's 1 in 4 people who remain in Greece, adults who remain in Greece, can't find work. But already about a fifth of the population has simply fled Greece to try to get work elsewhere. You graduate, the chance is less than half that you'll get a job if you graduate from college with an advanced degree. So these people are fleeing and taking jobs elsewhere. They're losing losing an entire generation.
Syriza ran on this economic program that didn't really mention anything about a departure from the Eurozone or stoppage of payments or even writing down Greece's debt. So how can they, could you put in context exactly what's happening there? Are they trying to cover a number of leftist groups, including the rich ones and the poor ones? Or why? Certain writers have said that they're betraying everyone.
Well, here's the problem. Tsipras, who is Alexis Tsipras, who is the prime minister and was elected from the so-called left party Syriza. As I've said in my article, he was never much of a leftist in the very simple sense is that once you agree that you're going to stay in the euro, you agree to basically Deutschmark slavery, because the euro isn't a coin. It's a Deutschmark with a lot of little stars on it. It's controlled by Germany. And unless you're willing to say no to the euro, you're basically saying we don't want to have leprosy, but we really don't want to leave the leper colony. The euro is what created their problems. Now, do the problems evaporate the second they walk out of the euro? No, they don't. Do their problems get worse if they stay in the euro? 100% absolutely, because what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now is complete disaster, because they're talking about privatizing all these industries so that they'll lose the income from those industries, and people will pay more for water and buses and electricity and you name it. That will impoverish people more. They're talking about cutting pensions, so there's less demand, less economic activity. They're talking about cutting more government jobs. More unemployment for Greek businesses, higher taxes. All these things are complete economic disasters. It was that great economist, Barack Obama, who said, and my God, this is a guy who has trouble with some economics, but even Obama understands, as he said, you can't draw blood from a nation in depression. It just makes things worse. Keep in mind, when the United States faced the Great Recession back in 2009, first George Bush, then Obama, borrowed money for a stimulus plan equal to 10% of our gross national product. A huge, huge debt pile was built up. Well, now we're down to 3% of gross national product, but it's the reason that big pile of debt had a very valuable purpose. We printed up first of all, we have our own money called the dollar. We printed ourselves a bunch of dollars, and we ended up with an unemployment rate which is less than any nation in Europe, including Germany. So when in the United States, we kept control of our own economic destiny because we kept our own currency, the dollar. We didn't, you notice that the United States didn't say, oh my God, we're in trouble, let's join the euro. Right. We didn't, thank God. But somehow the Greeks and the question of, is Syriza really a left party? If you're going to stay under the euro domination, which is basically a currency which brings you the Reaganomics, which is tied directly to Reaganomics. You can't be a left party and adopt Reagan's economic policy and the coin created by Reagan's economists for this purpose.
So the changing from the drachma, if they go back to the drachma, that means that basically the rich will be taking a big hit, right? The rich people in the country. Whereas if they go this way, it seems like the slow, painful death, the brunt of that pain will be felt by the working and middle class. It seems like they're redistributing the pain. Do I have that right, or am I off?
Absolutely. Here's what's happening. Look, give Tsipras some props for for basically crawling on his hands and knees and saying, we've cut our pensions 8 times, and now they want to cut pensions for the 9th time.
You see, I'm a psychotherapist. Everybody knows you cannot appease a sociopath, and it seems like Angela Merkel's crew is just doing things that are sociopathic.
It's a sociopathic system. That is, when I watched the creation of supply-side economics, I was a student of Milton Friedman. I knew all these guys who created these economic monsters, and the experiment started with Chile. And I bring up Chile for an important reason. It's always called the economic miracle. That was Friedman's phrase. In fact, that's a complete lie. After the right-wing forces took control of Chile, they went immediately into a 16% unemployment and massive depression. It wasn't a miracle. It was a miracle that they survived Pinochet and Milton Friedman and the free market.
And many people didn't.
But nevertheless, the myth of the Chilean miracle